Well, as you haven't noticed, the old America is dead. And we will be chasing the chaos that Democrats have released from Pandora's box for the rest of our natural lives. Now, the decision to strip Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of her committee assignments is the latest but perhaps most consequential departure from the norms that allow our representative democracy to function. And while the left and the media kick their virtue-signaling victory tour into high gear, they seem oblivious to the fact that their ideological zealotry may have consigned our collective freedoms to ultimate defeat. So let me be perfectly clear. I disagree vehemently with much of what Marjorie Taylor Greene has been accused of saying and what we know she has said in the past. I think it's been hurtful, divisive even. And I think it's harmed the conservative movement and contributed to why Democrats were able to win 2 Senate seats in Georgia, of all places. But save a violation of the law, the people have the right to choose who represents them. It is not the role of the 435 members of the U.S. House of Representatives to determine who the people of this nation can choose to be their voice. So no, I do not stand with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I stand with freedom. I stand with America. Because America stops working when the people in power decide that their opinion matters more than the power of the people. And when constitutionally protected speech, as distasteful and deplorable as you may find it, can be used as the basis to strip the people of their constitutional right to serve and deprive them of their constitutional right to receive robust representation, the freedoms of every American, living and dead, have been trampled upon. Now, Democrats, they will tell you that this is a unique case, that these are extraordinary circumstances, as if our laws and our norms were reserved for just the simple decisions. But liberty does not have an on and off switch that we can toggle when we are forced to confront people and ideas that we find reprehensible. That is the glorious and yet also bitter reality of freedom, the knowledge that it protects everyone equally. But this isn't about equal protection under the law or a unified nation. This is about Democrats attempting to paint the Republican Party as a pariah to human decency in an effort to optimize their political power and stave off a red tsunami they fear may await them in the midterms after 2 years of life living in Joe Biden's America. It's why the same people who fight for the principle that all Americans, even the people on death row, are entitled to a fair defense, are the same people trying to say that any lawyer who raises their hand to represent President Trump should be deprived of their law license. It is why the very same Democrats who fight tirelessly for felons to regain their right to vote as fully vested members of society stand up with zero sense of irony and strip a person not accused of breaking any laws of their ability to participate in that very democratic action. Now, the fact that the people of Georgia have the right to choose their own representation is the assurance that the next person like John Lewis can be fully recognized as well. He, in fact, broke some norms during the 60s movement for civil rights. He broke some laws as well on his quest for equality for all. And while some may scoff at the notion of comparing the groundbreaking work of John Lewis to the reckless actions of Marjorie Taylor Greene's past, the fact that Democrats have taken us from a legal standard of accountability to an eye of the beholder test for political retribution imperils the ability of us to function as government effectively. Democrats have set a bar that many current members cannot meet, and establish a litmus test that many future leaders will not be able to pass. This nation is founded on the essence of grace and the principle of redemption. There will now be candidates for higher office who will win elections only to arrive in D.C. powerless to represent their constituents because they were present for riots like the one that happened in Minnesota, where Black Lives Matter turned into police stations burned down. There will be newly elected members of Congress who are stripped of their committees because they denigrated law enforcement on Twitter or supported the bigoted anti-Semitic movement of BDS on Facebook. And when it happens, like the case of Pandora's box, reopening the box to try to capture the chaos that has been unleashed on the world will be a day too late for our freedoms and for our republic and for our shared sense of our